Welcome to Trends with Benefits, a podcast by Van Eck with a forward-looking perspective. We explore new ways of thinking about the markets, investing, work, and life. Here's your host, Ed Lopez.
Hey, this is Ed Lopez, and this is another episode of Trends with Benefits. I'm here today with Shannon McLay, CEO and founder of the Financial Gym. Hey, Shannon, how are you?
I am fantastic. How are you, Ed?
I'm doing well, as best as one can imagine, given what we're dealing with out in the market today.
Our makeshift recording studios hunkered down in quarantine zone.
Yeah, just as soon as we had developed a great studio in the office, the market gets hit with coronavirus, and now I'm here, filming this in my bedroom.
Yeah, as you can imagine, as an entrepreneur, I'm like, it's just another problem we have to solve, right? I mean, every day has like 18,000 problems. So here's just another one. It feels good, though, for me as an entrepreneur. It feels good finding the solutions.
Oh, yeah, totally. I'm kind of enjoying the working from home aspect. I know the coronavirus is a very serious thing, but for me, kind of finding, as you talk about, the solution, and there's a challenge and trying to overcome it. And this is my way of saying, screw you, coronavirus. We can still power through.
Yeah. You can't keep us down. Well, for me, I'm an introvert at the end of the day. So I'm loving this. This is like, and the only problem I have is that I am an introvert. And so I get downtime in my day for my commute and stuff like that. But now, because of this, I have my meetings start at like 9 and they just go all day because everybody can be in meetings, remotely and virtually. So I actually have more meetings now and I'm feeling like even more drained. But the work from home aspect, I'm like, yeah, I don't have to see people for days. Like, I'm okay.
I know my colleagues are hating it, but I'm like, I'm loving this. I guess I'm a socially distant person, I guess. I don't know.
I have a number of teammates who are high extroverts and they are literally in pain, because they get their extroverts get their energy from people and people interaction. And I'm like, I have empathy for you, but I have no idea what you're going through right now.
Yeah. And so I know you're a podcaster too, and the challenge, I'm kind of a little bit of a techie, so I love having to have set up my tech and learn how to record from home. And my team said, well, you need a better backdrop, and I don't really have a great studio, so I had to change my background. You can see my bookcase now because I've noticed all the reporters have great bookcases in their homes, and add a little texture there. But
yeah, I know. I have my bedroom, and I'm like, I don't normally use video when I record my podcast, but it's in my video. I record in my bedroom because you can see there's a lot of sound canceling with my curtains and the bed and the rug. And so it's just better sound quality, but it is my bedroom.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'm glad we could chat despite being distant. And hopefully the internet connection holds up. I know that tons of people are consuming a lot of bandwidth these days.
Yeah, we're testing the limits.
Yeah.
In every way.
So Financial Gym, the mission for Financial Gym is to help individuals with guidance and solutions to become more financially fit. Mm-hmm. What is financially fit to you?
Yeah. So financially fit is actually different for everybody. And I think this is why financial health is such an epidemic in the US. We're currently watching a pandemic, a physical health challenge happening, but it's also shining the spotlight on the underlying issue that we know that we've seen at the gym for years. And that's a financial health crisis as well. And the problem is most people don't know what it looks like. Like, we know what physical health looks like. Even if we're not physically healthy, we kind of know what we should weigh or what our BMI should be or clothing sizes, the digits. But most people don't know what financial health looks like. And the reality is it's different for everybody. What I say overall is it's your ability to live the life you want to live and not have money stress you out. That's it. But what does that mean? For some people, that means making $30,000 a year and living out of their van. We have a client at the gym who literally lives out of a van. Or for some people, that means making $500,000 a year and, living in San Francisco. It's different. The numbers are different, and it's really unique to every person. What makes you feel comfortable, and are you living the life you want to live?
So that's a pretty wide range of different types of clients you just described there. Do you work with all types?
Yes. So I had the idea for the gym when I was working as a financial advisor at Merrill Lynch. When I was working as a Merrill Lynch financial advisor, I felt like I saw the same type of client, the same type of person. I mean, to work with me at Merrill, you had to have 250,000 in assets. And so that rules out a lot of people, and that kind of limits the type of people you see. And so when I started the financial gym, I really wanted to create this place where people of all financial shapes and sizes could come to work out their finances, just like a regular gym. Anybody can go to a regular gym. And over the last 7 years of building this, what I love is that we really do see it all. Our youngest client's 17, our oldest is 74. We have clients making let zero because maybe they got unemployed, they're unemployed or they're freelancers. We have clients making seven figures. We have clients with negative dollars in the bank. We have clients with $8 million in their banks and investment accounts. We've got clients with zero debt and clients with, close to $1 million of debt between homes and student loans. So we literally see it all, and it's very rewarding and fulfilling for the team.
So if the typical financial advisor or your Merrill Lynch advisor is dealing with really high net worth people, it sounds like you also have some high net worth people. What do they see? What do they value from the business that you provide or the service that you provide?
So what's interesting about the people who could go and work with a Merrill Lynch advisor or another advisor, most advisors want to help you with asset management. So doing the investing and maybe estate planning and those kind of big picture ideas for people's financial health. But what we're looking at is we're looking at the whole picture, and we're going down to how much are they spending on Uber every month. We track our clients' expenses and we get that granular with them. And I saw the need for this when I was a Merrill Lynch advisor, because I would do plans for clients and I would say, okay, here's how much you need to save. Here's how much the markets are going to give you in return. And the combination is what's going to help you achieve your goals. And then I would meet every quarter with the clients, and the markets would do whatever they did. And then the clients didn't do any of their part of it. And I was like, what's happening? And they would say, well, this happened or that happened. And then we meet again. And I always felt like I was missing some part of the equation. And then when I started at the financial gym, I saw the other side of the equation, and it's the expense side of it. And, they were not saving because they're spending their money on trips or whatever, and or doing whatever they were doing. It wasn't going to the plan. And then they would complain about why the markets weren't giving them the returns. And I was like, well, you got to help it out. So, we see it all. And also, at the gym, we're looking at their holistic picture too. So we're looking at the spending side. We're also looking at the, investing side. We're looking at insurance. We're looking at student loans and debt repayment. And we're looking at long-term planning, and we're looking at earning potential, as salary negotiation, and really the whole picture for clients. And so we have clients with advisors, and we're fine. We love partnering. We love being on the team with other people, and we don't provide the investment. We don't do the specific investing, and we give general asset allocation, guidance and inform our clients what asset allocation even is, because a lot of them don't know. We give them that education, but we don't do the investing. So we're happy to partner with advisors, and the advisors that have with our clients actually love it because the clients have more money to invest, because we're helping our clients save more and send it to the advisor to help manage the money.
Are your meetings with clients typically more frequent than maybe with a typical financial advisor?
It depends on the client. When I was first building this business, I got a lot of pushback from investors because they were like, this is really labor intensive. Most financial services companies don't want to provide people who have less than 250,000 in assets with a human being, because they feel like they're not making enough money on them. And I always say the problem is the financial service industry, not the service. It's because the only way they make money is selling a product, and it should be called the financial products industry. So they have to sell an ETF or a mutual fund, or they have to sell life insurance, or they have to sell a bank account or a mortgage. But what we're selling is a service. And so, and that's what people want. And they do need products, but they'll pay for the service. And so I got a lot of pushback on that. But the reality is most people don't want to look at their money that frequently. So, we're meeting with our clients about every quarter regularly. And then, there's interim check-ins, or you'll get an email or a text from a client if they get something in the mail, their 401k statement, or let's say, what should I do with this? Or maybe they have a life event that comes up and you'll have that check-in meeting. But for the most part, it's every, 3 months. And some clients, it's even less frequent than that because they don't want to look at their money that frequently. So it's really not that labor intensive. Once you help educate clients and you put them on a plan and then keep them and hold them accountable to the plan, it's like you're an autopilot.
And the expense side of that is a real important part of what you're doing, helping them keep an eye on what they're spending and stay on track at that.
Yeah. And so I ran the number. I used to do this when I was at Merrill, when I was frustrated by what was happening with my clients' pictures, because they would get mad at me. And any advisor listening to this understands they get mad at you because their investment portfolio, is down 3%. Or, I mean, certainly now there's a lot of people mad at advisors about where their investment portfolio is. But what I said to myself was, look, on average, over a period of time, your investment portfolio is going to give you 6 to 8% returns on average. So on $1,000, that's $60 to $80 that your investment portfolio is going to give you. But if I can help you save $100 a month, then that's a 10% return. Or if I can help you save $500 a month, that's a 50% return. And that, or $1,000, that's 100% return. If I could help you move that part of the equation, that's going to be more meaningful over time, and that's going to be more significant. And that's people's, biggest problem. It's not how to invest, because there's plenty of robo advisors and ETFs and mutual funds that do your asset allocation for you. You don't even have to think about it. The hardest part is having the money to invest. So that was where, the aha for me is like, I really have to help people on the other side of this equation, because the investing part's easy and, relatively easy. But it's the having the money is the really hard part.
Yeah, it's true. And keeping it.
Yeah.
So you're kind of on the cutting edge, I guess, with tech and finance in the FinTech space. What area of traditional finance do you see that you think traditional finance has gotten wrong and that can be helped by tech?
Actually, it's interesting. I feel like traditional finance has gotten it wrong with too much tech, especially on the consumer side. So, that was what I saw at Merrill too, is if you didn't have 250,000 in assets, our solution, I'm saying solution in air quotes, was to tell a client to go to Merrill Edge, which is the website, which is just a regular website. I was like, first of all, Merrill Edge it's very confusing, especially for somebody who doesn't know. And that's not really a great solution. And Merrill Edge isn't going to tell you if you should pay off your student loans or, buy a car. I mean, so that's not helpful. And what's interesting is, like, there's been so much of a focus on FinTech and distancing yourself from your consumers especially on the banking side. I mean, what I tell people at the end of the day that we've done at the Financial Gym is we've just reimagined your local community bank that used to exist back in the day. Like, I'm old enough to remember that, where your banker knew your name and you went in and they knew your family and what you're working for, and getting a mortgage was easier because they understood you. And then, with bank consolidations that happened in the 80s and 90s, those banks went away and it became more commercialized. And then the invention of the ATM distanced you even further. And then the technology on top of it. And now banks don't even know you. And then they want to charge you fees, and they don't have a clue what's happening. And where we've kind of come full circle is, like, we're getting to know our consumer. We are on the lines with them, and we have technology that supports us and helps them, helps guide our team on how to best serves our clients. But we're kind of reimagine it. So I think the challenge is there's almost too much technology,
That's interesting.
And we're just not connected with the consumer as much anymore.
That's all right. So you guys have actual local gyms, if you will, that you can go into and talk to somebody.
We call them the flags internally. Your friendly local area gym is what we call our gym location. So we have 4 at present that are all on lockdown, but we are in Manhattan, Brooklyn, DC, and West Hollywood, LA.
And do you work with clients outside of those areas?
Yes. So we work with clients in person and virtually. We have clients in all 50 states now. I love when we look at our map, our heat map of clients, and I see the ones in Alaska and Hawaii. You have to pan out for them, but we're in all 50 states. We work with clients virtually. And obviously we're doing that a lot now these days, but with the same results. But, there is, and I get asked a lot, do I need to have gym locations all over the country? And, I don't imagine we need a lot of locations, but I do see the power in community. And my argument to people who are anti physical space is that, people, and it's happening, we're seeing it with this COVID-19, people really want to be part of a community. That's just like the human existence. To what degree we want to be a part of it is, limited for some people like me who's an introvert, but people want community. And you look at like CrossFit, you look at it in the fitness area, you look at like CrossFit or Soul Cycle, where people want to be there and they're connected with people who are of like minds on the same kind of goal together. And that's, financial or physical health for these people. What we see in our gym locations is that same kind of power of community, but instead it's around money. And money is the ultimate taboo topic. I mean, we're more comfortable, I would say more comfortable getting physically naked with somebody than financially naked. And here we are creating a community with people who are talking about the most taboo topic. And it's very rewarding and liberating for the people who are members of our community.
Can you break down your 5 numbers to live by? And what exactly does that mean?
Yeah. So it's funny. I wrote this blog post like a few years ago, and it's become what we call our financially fit numbers. And really what started was I realized, people know what physical fitness looks like, physical health looks like. Even if we're not physically healthy, we know what it should be. And physical health is really a combination of knowing your numbers, knowing the digits, and then creating a mindset shift toward accomplishing that. So physical health numbers might be your weight or BMI or dress size or pant size or something like that kind of gives you an indication of your physical health. And so the financial health digits we look at are, and I always say this, and I tell people to not freak out if you don't have any of these numbers, because everything you do financially is fixable. So it's just like, here's what you should be working towards. So the number one is 15%. And we want our clients saving at least 15% of their gross monthly income. And that's the first digit. The second one is 750. And that's the credit score we want you to work to. The next one is 35%, and that's your credit utilization that we want you to have. So how much of your available credit do you have a balance on your credit card? So if you have $1,000 credit limit, you should have no more than $350 on that. The other 35% is your debt to income number. And that's what's really going to help you buy a home or make, financial decisions. We take it to the next level, even helping our clients identify what places they should rent, because and it's hard to keep to this number. Just as an FYI, if you live in a high expense city, it's really hard to keep that number to 35%. But what that number represents to us is it's the if 35% of your paycheck is going to debt or fixed payments, then what we're saying is 65% of your paycheck then can go to the things that you love and you really want to do in life, travel or, experiences or family or things like that. So we really want you to try to keep that number as low as possible. We don't want 90% of your paycheck going to student loans and your mortgage. I mean, that doesn't leave you a whole lot else to like a lot of wiggle room. So we're looking at 35% debt to income. And then the last number is 2. And this is always like our trick number. And 2 is the number of investment accounts we want you to have. And the first most people know is a retirement account, say Roth IRA, 401k, IRA, 403b, all the alphabet soup of TSP, all the alphabet soup of retirement things. And then the second is a brokerage account. So where you're investing for really that middle term life bucket. And we really see a big problem in this area where we might have people with emergency funds and they have cash, which is great. And they're planning for retirement, which is great. But we call it like the barbell. They have like this barbell savings approach happening where they're missing the middle and they're not investing and taking advantage of that. And, it shouldn't be as aggressive. Your asset allocation shouldn't be as aggressive as your retirement. But, most of that middle bucket, you think about it for most people, you're not going to use the retirement money until you're, 59 and a half. And then, the other money, if you're in your 20s or 30s, you're talking about 30 years of middle term bucket money that really should be invested.
Yeah, a lot of great rules of thumb there. Do you find yourself and your trainers doing a lot of basic financial education and training for folks?
Yes. I mean, we hear so much at the gym. People come in and super smart, highly educated people saying, I know I should know this, but I don't. And our response is always, why should you know it? Why should you know the financial literacy? Because you probably weren't taught it at home. Most of us weren't talking, our parents weren't teaching us about it. Although our financially fit clients, most of them have a memory of their parents talking about money from an early age in a positive way. Like their dad told them to save, or their mom taught them the value of $1 or something like that. But most people don't have that experience. So you're not learning it at homes. You don't learn it in schools. You're not learning at the job. So why should you know financial literacy? It's just like saying, I know I should know Chinese. Why should you know Chinese? Like Mandarin, when did you learn it? You shouldn't. I mean, but there are steps you can take to educate yourself, and you do have to educate yourself at this point. It is, an active process, and you can learn it just like any other language.
It's on us now to control our retirement and understand how we get there.
Yes.
So I guess it's a good thing that they at least acknowledge what they don't know and are seeking your help. I think on your podcast, you talk about some different money hacks. Do you have any money hacks that you swear by?
Oh, yeah. So a few, but the number one that I love, we talk about financial exercises, is a no spend day, where you just commit to the day that you are not going to spend any money. So you're going to bring your lunch or make breakfast at home, bring lunch from home or cook, and really like essentially leave card and cash at home. And just like you would plan regular exercises, we have our clients plan for a number of these a day or a week. So schedule out, a few no spend days. And what happens is, it's like being good on your, on your food. Like when I was on, and I feel like I'm always on Weight Watchers, but if I eat salads and chicken and all the right things a few days a week, then that saves up and it builds up points so I can drink more wine or, and kind of indulge a little bit more. It's the same thing with your money. So if you do a number of no spend days, then, that's money you didn't spend. And then it kind of adds up. So, you have leftover money at the end of the week that you could possibly save or use to other things. So we like that. We like cash only diets as well. So, people always overspend with cards, debit and credit. And it's because literally there's neurological studies that show that the processing center of our brain shuts down when we swipe a card, debit or credit. It actually numbs and actually feels good. So you're not really processing what you're doing when you swipe a card. And that's why a lot of times people overspend with the cards, because they're not really processing what happens. But when you have to use cash and you have to actually see it leave your wallet and feel like you have less of it, then you're more mindful of spending. And so we put a lot of clients on cash diets as well.
Oh, that's great. I've definitely heard the term shopping therapy. So I guess that's where that kind of comes from.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to go back and talk about Financial Gym and you as an entrepreneur. When you were an advisor and you had the idea for the gym, what was it like taking those first steps into starting Financial Gym? Did you have to go and find investors to get it going?
Yeah. So it's funny because I'm 7 years into this entrepreneurial journey, and I laugh all the time because I never wanted to be an entrepreneur 7 years ago, and I knew nothing about building a company. I was never in the game plan. And I got advice from people that said, bootstrap it. I thought right away, I was like, I'm going to raise $15 million. This is the most brilliant idea. And then all the people I talked to said, you know what, bootstrap it, prove that people will pay you before, you raise money. And then I said the first 2 years I called the dark years of building the business, because I was going through everything I own personally to try to sustain my own lifestyle and charging people $85, like not a lot of money. And I got to the point where I had nothing left personally. I literally, took everything out of my retirement account. And then a month later, I had coffee with a former boss of mine at Merrill. And he had just been fired. And I was telling him about what I was doing. And then he says to me, I have this severance package. What do you think I should do with the money? And I said, I think you should invest in a small financial services company that's about to run out of money. And that was my first $100,000 check. That was my first angel investor. That was in 2015. I get asked a lot about the fundraising process and the venture capital process. It's never ending. It's a painful process, but I always feel like, it's kind of like the sign from the universe. When I compare our storyline and my storyline as an entrepreneur to others, every successful entrepreneur has a lot of pain in their journey. And I was like, so we're right on target for being super successful, because
that's great.
We look like all these other people. So
what's one piece of advice you'd give other budding entrepreneurs?
So I tell people two things. If you're thinking about starting a business, there's two paths. A is the right path, or they're both right, but A is the financially right path. And that's save up a year's worth of your expenses, like, have your personal expenses covered for a year. And if you can anticipate the costs of the business, because there's always costs, then to try to save up for that for the year as well. And because I don't care how great your idea is, there's so many great ideas out there. It's going to take time to get your audience and build it up. And you don't want to be stressed out about money and running out of money the whole time. And so, I advise to create this fund and then kind of create a payroll for yourself and give yourself some time, because even, again, with great ideas, some of them you'll pivot. You could pivot multiple times in the early days. And you just want to have that flexibility and not be stressed about paying your own bills. That's, a financially healthy way to do it. And then, just hit the ground running. Two is, you feel so much passion for what you want to build that you just know the world can't even exist unless you do it. That was my path. Like, I couldn't even sleep when I thought about this idea, and I never wanted to start a business, but the passion for what you build is what will get you through the challenging times, because there's so many challenging times. And my personal finances became a mess, but it was my passion for what I was building that kind of sustained that. So I feel like, and the people, and I've talked to other founders who fall into B, the passion people, and they're like, yeah, you have to have some kind of crazy to be start something. Because I remember one time somebody telling me only 2% of female founders have ever raised more than $1 million of venture capital funding. And I was like, yeah, I'm kind of glad I didn't think about those things, because, I don't think that would have stopped me. But, if you're thinking about the realities of it, then you won't do the business. You have to have some kind of crazy at the end of the day to start something.
What's one big trend you see playing out over the next year or several years?
I see, and it's been a constant trend, but travel is just one that I don't think is going to go away. And I think this recent experience has just made people even more wanderlustful. We see it with millennials. The number one sacred cow, or we call it sacred cows, the budget area they want to spend their money is in travel. So I'm very bullish on anything travel, especially now it's at a discount. And
totally.
Once people are allowed out, I think they're really going to want to go places.
Hang on, yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, so we have another segment, part of our podcast, called Trend or Fad. I'll ask you about 3 different topics and tell me your opinion, trend or fad. You can explain it if you like, or not. Virtual happy hours, trend or fad?
So I think this is a fad. I hope it's a fad. I mean, we're doing it at the gym, and it's fun, but I think it's very difficult to replace actual cheersing in person.
True. How about Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, trend or fad?
Geez. I mean, I've been saying fad for a long time. Yeah, I still say fad.
How about Zoom for fitness, trend or fad?
Zoom for fitness. You mean like virtual fitness?
Let's call it virtual fitness.
Oh yeah. Trend. Absolutely. I've had a Peloton bike for almost 3 years now. And they've expanded to other apps, and I'm a huge fan. I'm literally an investor in Peloton because I believe so strongly in that trend. So yes, trend.
Yeah, and I think especially after this whole COVID-19 thing, more people will be on that trend. I downloaded the Peloton app myself just to do some classes in my living room. So,
yeah, I mean, I think there's always room for a lot of, there's always so much competition in fitness, but it's certainly for me, why I say trend too, no matter what's happening, for me, it works because people have busy lives and schedules, and it's hard to make classes fit and leaving your home to find the class, and that's where that filled that void for me in particular. I was like, I have to leave the house, you have to catch a 7 a.m. train, so I can't get a 6 a.m. workout class. I have to get a 4:15 workout class, and nobody's up live teaching a 4:15 class. So yeah, it works for my busy schedule.
How can people find you or follow you?
Yeah, if they want to find out more about Financial Gym, we're online at financialgym.com or on Instagram at The Financial Gym and Twitter at The Financial Gym. And me personally, I'm on Instagram at The Shannon McLay. And my podcast is Martinis and Your Money, Living a Better Life One Cocktail at a Time. And that's on all the places you find podcasts.
That's awesome. I love that title.
See, this is why I think virtual happy hours are a fad. I'm like, nothing like a drink with a friend and talking about money.
Exactly. Well, Shannon, thank you very much for your time. You were very gracious with your time with us, and I wish you all the luck.
Thank you.
And thanks for tuning in to another episode of Trends with Benefits.